3.5 years ago. I'll never forget it. It was like fall of 2020. I was kind of growing out of this party scene that I was in college, and I really wanted to better myself. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to do all of these different things. And I knew that that was also going to require meeting new friendships and meeting new people who were more on an aligned path with me, but I had no idea how to do it. And here's the 3-step method that I personally have used to attract like-minded friendships, and I want to share it with you so that you can do the same. How to attract like-minded, aligned friendships if you're moving to a new city, or even if you're not, as someone who's done this a few different times now. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Lee. If you're new here, or if you don't know me from my other socials, welcome. Think of my channel as your safe space for digestible self-development content, almost like your big sis that you never had. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos from me. I recently moved, if you did not watch my previous videos, but I decided to completely leave my comfort zone of Los Angeles for the past 3 years and get up and try something new. I got rid of basically everything that I own, and I said, let's just try something new. So here I am in Miami. I'm here for the month, and I'm gonna be traveling a little bit too. But it made me think about, while I was here, the whole idea of attracting like-minded friendships and how to actually do that, because it can be so scary and intimidating, especially as someone who doesn't really know anyone in Miami, by the way. I moved here completely on a whim, or at least I'm here for right now, without knowing many friends. And I thought, I did this once before in LA when I moved to LA 3 years ago and didn't know anyone. So I could do it again. And here's the 3-step method that I personally have used to attract like-minded friendships, and I want to share it with you so that you can do the same. First step, if you want to find new friendships, like-minded girlies who are interested in similar things as you are, and just find people who are more aligned with you in this chapter of your life, because you could have friendships that have been amazing friends for your entire life, but maybe aren't going down the same path you are, which I'm suspecting is why you're watching this video. The first step is that you have to do the work to become the type of friend that you want to attract. You have to ask yourself, why would somebody want to be friends with me? Why would this person want to be friends with me if I'm not doing the work, if I'm not becoming that person that I would want to be friends with? And that was the first thing that I did when I was deciding to move to Los Angeles. This was about 3.5 years ago. I'll never forget it. It was like fall of 2020. I was kind of growing out of this party scene that I was in college, and I really wanted to better myself. I wanted to start a business. I wanted to do all of these different things. And I knew that that was also going to require meeting new friendships and meeting new people who were more on an aligned path with me, but I had no idea how to do it. No idea. I didn't even have one friend that was in a similar group to that. So I started off by realizing that I had to do the work to become the version of myself that I would want to be friends with. And if I wanted friends who were into wellness and self-development and business and all these different things, I had to be learning about these different things. I couldn't just wait for them to show up at my doorstep. I had to be taking the steps to becoming that version of myself that type of person would want to be friends with. So what did I do? I started reading the self-help books. I started doing the inner work. I started learning more. I was listening to new podcasts, YouTube videos. I started a social media page. That's when I started Rebecca Lee in 2020. I started putting myself out there in new ways that I was maybe once scared of doing before. Because if I wasn't doing the things and becoming the version of myself who was like that, how would I attract that type of person? I wouldn't. And that's exactly what happened. As I started putting myself out there on social media, and I started learning, and I started growing, and I started building myself up, then the right people found me. And over time, I literally attracted and manifested the exact friend group that I had in LA because I was doing that inner work. So the inner work is the first step, right? You have to first become the version of yourself that you'd want to be friends with. The second step is getting clear on the person and the friend group that you want to attract. What if I started imagining and I opened up my mind to the idea of new people entering my life? So what did I do? I took my journal, took my handy dandy notebook, sat down in my parents' basement on their couch, and I wrote for hours. And I got crystal freaking clear on the type of friend and friendships I wanted to attract. I wrote down what they were into. I wrote down what we did together. I wrote down just the type of energy that friendship would bring into my life. Some things included, but not limited to. They were into wellness and self-development. They were doing the inner work. We did activities with each other that wasn't just revolved around drinking and going out. We were motivating each other. We could grow together. We learned from each other. And this is why it's so important to do step 1, which is become that version of yourself that you'd want to be friends with. Because if you want to learn from another individual and a friend, they're going to want to learn from you too. So what are you bringing to the table? You don't have to just bring physical things to the table, right? If you want to become the version of yourself that those friends that you've outlined want to be friends with, what are you bringing to the table? Energetically, even emotionally. What have you learned? What can you share? What can you give? So I'm not saying you need to have all of this like success or money or whatever physically bring to the table. No. But what's your energy like? People want to be friends with people that have good energy, that have positive energy, that have similar energy to them. And if your energy is down here, if your vibration's down here, and you want to attract a friendship that's energy's up here, they're positive, they have a good attitude, they're working hard, they're successful, all these different things. You have to build your energy, your vibration up there so it's a match. It's an energetic match. So once you get super crystal clear and you write down a whole list of attributes and the envisioning of the type of person that you're going to be friends with, make sure to do those things that you wrote down. And the more that you can give and not take, this is a huge one too, huge piece. You start to realize what can you give to other people, what you can bring. That's when people want to be around you. That's when you start attracting those aligned friendships. Not just, oh my gosh, what can I take from them? What can they do for me? They have this, they have that, and I want that status. No, people don't like that energy. You have to build yourself up so you can give and not just be a taker. And lastly, step number 3, once you've done the inner work, you've done the journaling sesh, which I highly suggest that you do, and you write down the exact type of friendships you're manifesting, you have to start taking action. You can't just expect these people to show up on your doorstep if you're not taking any sort of action. So my best piece of advice for you is to start putting yourself in the right places, the right times. Start going to events. I put myself in so many uncomfortable situations by going to wellness events. I went to Tony Robbins. I went to all these different just seminars and events where I didn't know many people, by the way. I would sometimes show up alone to events. And those were always the best case scenarios because I was forced to meet new people. So if you start putting yourself in the right situations at the right times, maybe it's going to work from a coffee shop during the day or going for a walk at a certain time of the day or, just showing up at the places that have similar interests to you. Maybe going to a same yoga studio or Pilates studio if you're really interested in yoga or Pilates every day and you start going at similar times so you start seeing familiar faces. That's how you have to start thinking about it. You can't sit at home all day and cry and wish and waiting for them. You have to actually physically put yourself in those scenarios. And even if it's not physical, right? It could even be on social media. I met a lot of my girlfriends in LA, if not all of them, most of them, from social media. So ask yourself, how can you start putting yourself in more aligned places physically, online, even just word of mouth? If you start talking to people like, hey, I'm new to this city. Hey, I'm here, this and that and the other. And I'm looking for friends. Do you know any cool girls for me to meet? You'd be surprised. People want to help, especially if you're new to a city. So don't forget to take action. So to recap the 3-step process, do the inner work, journal, do the journaling exercise to manifest and get clear on who it is that you're trying to attract. And 3, start taking action. Put yourself in the right situations, in the right places at the right times. And I guarantee you will have no problem bringing in and calling in and attracting this dream group of friendships. It might take a little time, but you will get there. And I know it because I've done it and I'm doing it again now that I'm new in Miami. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any other future self-development Sundays. And I'll catch you next week. Sending love.